When my husband walked out after 26 years of marriage, he didn't even bother to say goodbye. No apology. No reason. Just silence. But what shattered me more was discovering the next morning that every cent in our joint savings was gone, including the $100,000 we had saved for our daughter's college fund. I thought I was broken. But our teenage daughter, she was already plotting something I never could have imagined. My name is Linda Markham, and until last spring, I believed I had a good life. Not glamorous, not perfect, but solid. My husband David and I had been married for over 20 years. We shared a home, a daughter, and what I thought was mutual respect. Our daughter Nora was 16, a brilliant kid applying to colleges across the country. I worked part-time at the local library, and David had a stable job in tech. We weren't rich, but we had plans. We had a future. Or so I thought. It was a Thursday evening. Quiet, uneventful. I came home after closing the library early for inventory. I remember the way the air in the house felt. Wrong. Still. Cold. I found David in the bedroom, zipping up a suitcase. His face was pale, unreadable. "Where are you going?" I asked. He didn't meet my eyes. "I just need space," he said flatly, like he was asking for another cup of coffee. "For myself." "What do you mean, space?" "David, what's going on?" He didn't answer. He grabbed his things, walked past me like I was invisible, and left. I stood there, frozen, my world spinning off its axis. That night, I didn't cry. I couldn't. My brain was trying to make sense of it, grasping for logic. That's when I checked our joint bank account. I don't even know what made me do it. Instinct, maybe. My fingers trembled as I logged in. Zero. No, that couldn't be right. I checked the savings account, the retirement, the college fund. Empty. Every last cent. The $100,000 we had saved over the years for Nora's education. Gone. All of it. I felt like the floor had dropped out from under me. I couldn't breathe. I just stared at the screen, my heart pounding, until I heard footsteps. Nora. She walked in slowly, glanced at my laptop, then sat down beside me. There was no panic in her face. No tears. Just a kind of cold clarity I didn't expect. "So," she said calmly, "he really took it all, didn't he?" I nodded, still mute, trying not to break in front of her. She looked back at the screen for a moment, then turned to me. "Okay," she said. "I'll handle it." It should have sounded like teenage bravado. It should have worried me. But something in the way she said it made me pause. And for the first time that night, I wondered if David had underestimated the wrong woman in this house. At first, I chalked it up to teenage bravado. Nora had always been sharp, top of her class, captain of the debate team, and an absolute terror when someone lied to her. But this was different. Over the next few days, I watched her change. She stopped watching TV, barely touched her phone. No music, no distractions. Just her laptop, open late into the night, screen glowing in the dark like some kind of portal to a hidden world. I'd wake up at 2 or 3 a.m. and see the hallway light slipping under her door. She was working, furiously. At the kitchen table, I'd find scattered post-its, highlighted printouts, bits of code scribbled in the margins. She was downloading something, printing stacks of paper, compiling folders. She didn't say much to me, but the fire in her eyes had only grown. I wasn't sure whether to be proud or terrified. One afternoon, while grabbing laundry from her room, I accidentally knocked over her backpack. A manila folder fell out, bursting open across the floor. It wasn't schoolwork. I froze. Screenshots of emails, bank transfers, login histories, financial records, some from accounts I'd never even heard of, names, dates, dollar amounts, and a photograph of a woman I didn't recognize, circled in red ink. Blonde. Sharp smile. Corporate ID badge. When Nora walked in, she didn't look surprised to see me with it. She just exhaled and sat down. I was going to show you anyway, she said. I didn't say a word. Dad didn't just leave, she continued. He ran off with someone from his office. Her name's Veronica Kane. She's mid-level management at a firm that prides itself on financial integrity. She opened her laptop and pulled up a document. They've been planning this for months. I traced their emails back almost a year. It wasn't just the college fund, Mom. They opened credit cards in your name, took out loans, used your social to get a home mortgage together. And get this, he's trying to cash out his 401k early and move the money offshore. I was stunned. How do you know all this? I hacked his old accounts, she said plainly. His passwords were pathetic. I guess betrayal makes you lazy. I stared at her. Nora, this is illegal. Her jaw clenched. What he did is criminal, Mom. I'm not stealing. I'm gathering evidence. I'm just leveling the field. She looked me in the eyes, calm and unwavering. And I'm not letting him get away with this. Nora executed her plan like a surgeon, calm, precise, and with zero hesitation. She wasn't lashing out in anger. She was calculating, disciplined, and terrifyingly efficient. Watching her was like witnessing a storm form quietly on the horizon, knowing it was about to hit someone else's life with full force. The first strike was subtle, an anonymous email to the ethics board of Veronica Kane's firm. It included screenshots of email exchanges between Veronica and David, messages that weren't just personal, but incriminating. Discussions of money transfers, shell accounts, and how they were finally free from the old baggage. The attachments were time-stamped, sourced from internal servers. There was no denying them. Veronica was placed on immediate administrative leave within 48 hours. Next came the alert to a state financial crimes division. Nora compiled a full report, over 30 pages long, highlighting the forged signatures on loan documents, the misuse of my social security number, and the withdrawal patterns from our joint savings that coincided with David's business trips. She even flagged suspicious foreign wire transfers and attached IP logs from his old laptop, proving his access. The investigation was opened almost immediately. But Nora didn't stop there. She found out the homeowners association where David and Veronica had just moved had a strict policy about residency eligibility, particularly regarding financial fraud or pending litigation. Nora sent them a packet, complete with copies of the mortgage paperwork and flagged irregularities. Within days, the HOA sent them a formal letter of inquiry. Their fancy new home? Under review for fraudulent acquisition. Then came the media. Nora crafted a burner email, posed as an insider whistleblower, and fed the entire timeline, complete with evidence, to a local investigative journalist who ran a column exposing financial corruption in affluent neighborhoods. Within a week, there was a piece titled, Power Couple or Paper Crooks. Fraud claims emerge in suburban paradise. Their photos were blurred, but recognizable. And while their lives unraveled in public, we remained invisible. Every week brought another blow. Veronica's firm launched a full internal audit. David was suspended pending investigation from his tech position. Their accounts were frozen by court order. Creditors started circling. The dream life they'd stolen, brick by brick, was collapsing right beneath them. And through it all, Nora never gloated. Never celebrated. She just kept gathering, documenting, protecting. We didn't confront. We didn't warn. We let the truth do the talking. And in silence, it roared louder than any revenge speech ever could. 2 months after David walked out and dismantled the life we had built, he called. His voice was no longer calm or smug. It was frantic, on the verge of collapse. He rambled about losing everything, his job, his house, even his car, which had been seized after missed payments triggered repossession. But what shocked me most wasn't the panic in his tone, it was the audacity of his accusation. "This is your fault, Linda. You turned Nora against me. She was always a sweet girl, until you poisoned her." I felt a strange calm settle over me. "No, David," I said softly. "You turned her against you the moment you stole her future. She didn't need convincing. She saw who you really were, and she chose not to let you get away with it." He went quiet, then hung up. A few days later, he showed up at our house. He looked nothing like the man I had once married. His hair was unkempt, his clothes wrinkled, and his eyes, those confident, calculating eyes, were now bloodshot and hollow. He stood on the porch like a ghost from a life we'd already buried. I opened the door, ready to tell him to leave, but Nora was already behind me. "I want to talk to him," she said. I hesitated, then stepped aside. She walked out calmly, arms folded, chin lifted. For a moment, I saw not my teenage daughter, but a woman in full command of the moment. David looked at her, pleading. "Nora, I know you're angry, but I'm still your father." She didn't flinch. "You were my father. Now, you're just a man who robbed his own child." "I made mistakes." "No," she interrupted. "You made choices, over and over, and now you're facing the consequences." "I lost everything," he whispered, eyes watering. "I don't have anyone left." She leaned in slightly, her voice even and cold. "You had us, and you threw us away." Then, just before turning back inside, she delivered the line that would echo in my memory for years. "You taught me that actions have consequences. I'm just helping the world learn that lesson." And with that, she shut the door. We didn't hear from him again after that. The silence that followed wasn't heavy, it was freeing. Because some doors, once closed, never need to be opened again. Weeks turned into months, and the legal system, slow as it often is, began grinding into motion. Investigators found more than enough evidence to indict both David and Veronica on multiple counts of fraud, identity theft, and conspiracy. Court dates were set. Subpoenas were issued. And Nora, still just 16, was called to testify. I was terrified for her. The thought of my daughter facing down two adults in a courtroom made my stomach churn. But Nora, she was calm, focused, unshaken. She wore a simple navy dress, hair pulled back, no makeup. She didn't try to look older than she was. She walked into that courtroom as herself, honest, sharp, fearless. Her testimony was clear, direct, and devastating. She laid out the digital trail she had uncovered, the fake accounts, the forged documents, the email threads. The prosecution called her a teenage cyber sleuth. The defense tried to rattle her, but Nora didn't flinch. I watched from the gallery, stunned, not just by the depth of what she knew, but by her composure. She wasn't just defending herself, she was reclaiming everything that had been stolen from us. After the trial, David and Veronica were found guilty. They were sentenced to several years in prison and ordered to pay restitution. While we didn't recover everything, a portion of the money was returned to us, enough to cover part of Nora's education and give us a financial cushion again. But something else happened, something no one could have predicted. A journalist who had followed the case wrote a feature about Nora's role. It went viral. A well-known cybersecurity nonprofit reached out. They had read the article and wanted to meet her. Weeks later, Nora received an offer, a full scholarship to a prestigious university, including mentorship, internships, and a place in their youth fellowship program. That night, when she got the email, she didn't scream or cry. She just looked at me, smiled softly, and said, "Looks like I found a way forward." And she did. She didn't just patch up the wreckage her father left behind, she built something entirely new from it. She took a betrayal and turned it into power, purpose, and a future no one could steal. As for me, I went back to work at the library, but with a new kind of peace. I wasn't just a woman who'd been abandoned. I was the mother of a force of nature. And together we had survived. Together we had won. Not all heroes wear capes. Some wear hoodies, speak softly, and know exactly where to look for the truth. This story isn't just about revenge. It's about justice. About reclaiming your voice when someone tries to silence it. About finding strength not in anger, but in clarity. Sometimes, the people who were supposed to protect us are the very ones who betray us. But that doesn't mean we have to stay broken. Maybe you've been through something similar. Maybe you've had to rise from the ashes of someone else's choices. If so, you're not alone. Share your story in the comments. Let's talk about courage, family, and what it really means to fight back with dignity and purpose. If this story moved you, subscribe for more real-life tales of resilience, revenge, and redemption. We post powerful stories every week that prove justice doesn't always wear a badge. Sometimes, it wears a quiet smile and hits send.